Welcome to episode 121 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hillary with a beret.
Oh, well, you know, last night we went to see an art exhibit and, well, we participated in it because the proceeds were going to the Dolphins, which we're a part of, the Dolphin Democrats.
Yeah, and Women in Distress.
Women in Distress and the Pride Center.
Yeah.
But we went because it was the art show of this amazing artist named Kenneth Kahn, who we are close to his daughter Kate and Heather, and they wanted to sell some of his art. It was just so fucking amazing.
It was amazing.
And he's been ill, and they've just wanted to like do all of these really special things for him.
Yes,
and they have so much of his art. And so they wanted to share it with everyone and
incredible,
like get it.
incredible art, incredible artist.
Beautiful.
And
but
he's
look,
been painting.
I mean, I don't know if you can see in the video. No, you can't because my computer's blocking it. But I've got like 5 pieces. I bought five pieces. Well, one they gave to me, but the other 4 I bought because I just love them so much.
So much. And he's been painting since the 1950s. He's studied under some incredible artists.
Yeah.
He has his work in private collections. My favorite piece, though, is like the McCormick Spice Company has his like artwork on display.
Yeah.
I guess because I think he's from that area, but really like a beautiful range of, you know, there's some impressionistic style, realism. Really beautiful.
I know.
Beautiful.
So we did this so we could raise, so they could also then donate the money to these organizations, which is great. But he walked in wearing a beret, and I was like, "Oh, I'm totally gonna do a shout out to this guy on the podcast tomorrow."
It was so lovely.
I fucking love it, and I miss that sort of like, you know, there's so much digital art now. Like this is still such a classic form of like to paint, and his view. I mean, he's still painting. He's still painting. And I think Kate said last night that he's 80. I think that's what she said. Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
Because I bought these 3, like, it was like a series of paintings of a house here in where I live in my neighborhood.
Yes.
And so I wanted that because it's my neighborhood. And I'm like, I want these paintings. And Kate's like, you know, he can come paint your house, like take a picture of your house, he'll paint it for you. I said, will you please stop get that man work with you? He doesn't need to be involved in that.
He loves that. He probably wants something.
Oh my God.
You know.
It was funny.
I love it.
Me too.
I just always hope that when I'm older that I am still doing like the things that I love and enjoy.
Yes.
Because I had one grandmother who she loved like crocheting and she also loved like baking and cooking and all that. But she was, even when she lost like she had issues with her eyes, and she still, because she could do it she could tell by looking at a blanket, and she taught me how to like look at something and know what the stitches are. So if I want to just replicate it without having to pattern. And
wow.
I was like, I just want to be like her, like just always like doing something that you love and enjoy, you know?
I think you do that.
I know, but I mean, as I get older, you know, because there's some older people that are like, I'm old, you know, like I don't want to be that old person.
Well, speaking of old people, my very first note this week is, fuck you, Nancy Pelosi.
Oh!
Fuck you. I am still
oh my God,
out of my fucking mind right now. Oh, also, let me say something real quick. When we were at the art show last night, your friend Karen was there, who listens to the podcast, and she's like, I feel like I already know you. When people say that to me because they know me from the podcast, I'm just going to ask them if they want me to say fuck you to you. Like, just ask me. I'll scream fuck you at you.
Oh my God.
But no, but fuck you, Nancy Pelosi. But fuck you. So Nancy Pelosi endorsed Charlie Chris this week.
Why is
and
she
my
involved?
head exploded. I don't know, and it was one of those like,
does she know what's happening in the state of Florida?
I don't know if it's her face because she's had so many fucking facelifts, but it's so tight. She's like, it's not sincere. And so she's like, I think that you should vote for Charlie Chris. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're saying. And again, she's got these dentures or something in her mouth where I don't know. Does that come off as a strong leader? I don't think so.
No, just go for the implants, Nancy.
Here's the thing.
Do the dental implants.
Here's the thing. You don't know anything about Florida.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you don't know anything.
I mean, she should know. We are in danger. Well, so it would be nice if people on the federal level like knew and could help us.
Well, they do know, but they have written off. That's was my number one thought about this.
Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, we don't matter anymore.
The Florida National Party, the DNC, They have not given money to Florida, like, in the money that we need in years. And they actually, part of their budget, when it came out a few months ago, is Florida's not even on the fucking radar.
Great.
They have written us off as a red state. But this bitch, this fucking national leader,
now she wants to get involved.
Wants to dip her fucking toe into Florida? For what reason? Because you served with Charlie Crist? Big fucking deal. I guarantee she couldn't pick him out of a fucking lineup.
And
Please.
you know, I want to say something else that that this conversation kind of demonstrates. There's a lot of conversation I've seen lately about, or like people that are like, no one's there with their Biden flags and Biden signs. And it's like, well, maybe because Democrats don't see our political figures as heroes.
Yeah.
And we don't step in line when our political figures do something ridiculous like this endorsement.
Yeah.
And that we can call out our political leaders and say, what are you doing? Like, think about it. We aren't, and they want to call us the sheep when they're the sheep, when they just fall in line and they don't question anything. These politicians are not superstars. There are some that we absolutely love and adore, and because of the work that they have done, not just because they have a D next to their name.
That doesn't mean shit to me.
You know?
It doesn't.
So, I mean, I really love, like, that's the one thing I love about you so much, is that you will say fuck you to somebody.
Well,
you know?
I appreciate that. And here's the thing. And I laid it out for, I wanted to say a mea culpa, like Tina likes to say about last week, but like, you know, I laid it out last week about Charlie Crist. I fucking told y'all. I told y'all all how it went. The only thing I got wrong was when he lost it, when I said that he lost in the primary to Marco Rubio and then turned and ran as an independent for governor. That's not true. What happened is I had to go back and read it because I had to retweet it after I saw this endorsement. I put a tweet out that listed all of what he's been doing the last fucking 20 years, right? But what I got wrong is he did turn around and run as an independent, but he was in that primary with Rubio. It was getting close to August, and he realized he wasn't going to win. And then he switched to an independent. So he ran for Senate as an independent, not governor. So I got that part wrong. Okay. But everything else was right. Everything fucking else was right. And Nancy Pelosi, as probably the second, maybe is it president, vice president? Who do you think the leader of the party is right now? But like, she's one of those top 5 leaders of the Democratic Party. And she's endorsing someone who was once a Florida Republican governor. That should fucking matter. This fair weather fucking guy, like, it should fucking matter to you. You know who this person is, and how dare you? How dare you interrupt this woman's campaign?
I know.
How the fuck can you do that? How could you fucking do that? And then I saw all those old fucking motherfuckers, these old Democrats in Broward, sharing that endorsement, going, this is great. She's endorsed the right candidate. You motherfuckers who have been in the leaders of these clubs and caucuses for fucking 40 years who refuse to fucking pass the ball, pass the fucking baton to the next person. You motherfuckers will do it.
Right.
And you want Charlie Crist, and that's why we're going to lose.
We're going to lose. If Charlie Crist, I don't know, I mean, unless like the people of Florida are
well, DeSantis is helping him, I'll tell you that much.
And unless it becomes, you know, like a Biden-Trump situation where there are the more moderate people are going to be like, okay, I can swallow Charlie Crist, like
girl.
I endorsed, you know, I supported him like maybe when he was a Republican. You know, maybe there are those people in Florida that can get behind him.
Well, like a moderate Republican could totally get behind Charlie Crist. Yes. Totally get behind Charlie Crist.
So if that's the move, but at the same time, we need to move. We need to move forward. I feel like in more progressive ways.
Yes,
we need
the country
to move forward.
People here are progressive.
Yes, and you know. That's what we need, and I know that there have been some hiccups with Nikki Fried, you know, in the past week. Yeah, but I'm
absolutely fucking supporting. So she doesn't want to wear a mask on a plane. Big fucking deal. Who the hell does? And if you want to wear the mask, this is the same. So now Democrats are fucking going against people who don't wear masks. We are at the lowest numbers in Florida that we have been in ever. Right. We go to places and we don't wear masks. Now, would I wear a mask on a plane? Absolutely.
I would too.
But she was basically like, peace out to wearing masks on planes. Now, was it good optics? No. I don't know who's advising this. Right. This is not okay. Right. And someone check their tweets before they're sent, please.
And you made a good point the other day that she did also state that it was Democrats who have been pushing the vaccine, who have been pushing, the regulations to allow us to get to a point where we don't need masks. And Democrats, I think too, and I said this to you yesterday, it's not like Democrats want to walk around wearing masks all day. No. Nobody wants to. No. But we want to ensure that people are healthy and safe. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I would wear a mask on a anything that was super crowded. I would wear a mask.
Of course, give me a fucking
So I get
break.
it. I mean,
here's the other problem that she had this week, and I got to tell you, from the outside, it looked really bad. Okay, but when you actually look at it, it makes sense to me. But I'm not a fucking liberal to the point where I'm like, burn everybody if they don't fucking follow this dotted line, or whatever the line is for the party. Yeah, there's things where I think we need to readjust.
Anything that is extreme is bad.
Yeah. So she had a big, we're gonna make a big announcement to come out the next day, and she talks about how we're suing the Biden administration. So as a state of Florida, I'm gonna sue the Biden administration, and I was like, oh no, not Grandpa Joe.
I know.
Don't fucking bring that motherfucker into this. He's as beloved as that old fucking Nancy Pelosi.
And I mean,
my mother was like, listen, why is she suing Biden? I'm like, fuck. This is the demographic you need, girl.
I know.
Not my mother.
And I have to say that he has been doing things that he has set out to do. I mean, slowly and hard with.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm not against Biden at all. But what I'm saying is, as a person running for a governor seat as Democrat in Florida, you really shouldn't sue Grandpa Joe at the top of the fucking
There's
ticket.
a lot of older people in Florida.
They don't like it. And it was about, it says, and I'm going to fight for the rights of marijuana users, medical marijuana users, and gun owners. And this is the subtitle of the fucking article. I'm like, the house is on fire. Somebody get Nikki off the fucking Twitter, right? So then I go, all right, Hillary, calm down. Just let you read first. What is it about? Yeah. So I read it. And it actually makes so much fucking sense. Medical marijuana is legal here in Florida. You can go get the card and go get your fucking the shit you like. And have feel better.
Right.
But marijuana is illegal on the federal level.
Correct.
Right? So if you apply for a gun permit in the state of Florida and you have a medical marijuana card, it pops up when they do your background check.
Correct.
And you are not allowed to get a gun permit. So she's suing the federal government. Let's make it clear.
Right.
That's the spin, honey. I don't know why we're saying Biden administration, but we're suing the federal government.
Because he's in charge.
Right? But say that. Don't say Biden administration. Because it doesn't look like, it looks like Dem versus Dem. And you're in a fucking primary race.
I know.
So
girl.
So they're suing.
That's when you win the primary, you could come out with stuff like that.
This is what I said last night to someone. I said,
when you win the primary, do everything that you want.
Guess what? It's called the Charlie Crist. You go and say all the things they want to hear, and then you try to win the ticket. That's what it is. And then afterwards, do whatever you want. Then afterwards, run that bitch. I'm here with you. But
it's called the Charlie Crist. Can that be the name of the episode?
Yes. So I'm okay with it. Yes. I think that people should be able to do whatever they want. The state of Florida, the voters here voted to have legalized marijuana.
Correct. Yeah, if it's legal on the state level.
Yeah.
I also feel like that people shouldn't get in trouble for it, and that the federal,
and if somebody wants
now it's Florida, Colorado. There are several states that have it. So like the federal government has to readjust something that their laws are now impacting states that already have these legal things. And if there's states' rights, and that's a Republican issue. Yeah. So states' rights.
But this is a thing. This is a real thing. Like if you have a medical marijuana card and you also want to defend your home, you should be able to do that. I'm for supporting the Second Amendment. I'm here for the fucking Second Amendment. We have the right to bear fucking arms. Ooh. And if you don't want to buy a gun, don't buy a gun. I personally would not want one in my house, but I'm not going to tell somebody else. That's our fucking right.
Well,
and as Democrats, we better start coming out of the side of right to bear arms.
Small gun and nothing else.
Of course, there should be regulations so I don't have a fucking Uzi, a machine gun in my fucking bedroom.
No military grade stuff.
Of course, I agree. There's a way to meet in the middle here, though. We can't just be anti-Second Amendment. That is not a fucking way the party should stand. You're
right.
You know what I mean?
Would be, my husband would say, that's a dog, that's not going to win.
Yeah. So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with what she's doing. I think it's a good idea. I just think that maybe we shouldn't say we're suing Biden.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So I have one thing I want to address that has been coming up a lot this week. And it actually happened here in Broward too. And this was its campaign against Democrats and using very dangerous language, specifically the word groomers.
Ooh, yeah.
And we saw it happening to people, anyone that now wants to defend, curriculum. If it doesn't align with what the Republicans want, the Democrats are now called groomers. Right. Or if you want to support the LGBTQ community, they want to call them groomers, because now we're back to the backwards thinking of somehow that homosexuality is tied to pedophilia.
Right.
It's insane.
An age-old spin.
It's insane. It's insane.
You know?
It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's very dangerous, because I think back to that Pizzagate.
Yeah.
I think back to that Pizzagate where that guy went to that location because he thought that children were being harmed in some way.
Yes.
So now we're going to start labeling people as groomers, and there's going to be people out there that are like, this person's harming children. And somehow these Republicans now, right, they've taken, and I say it all the time, they took the word liberty, they took the word freedom. Now with abortion, right, they get rid of the word fetus, embryo, whatever it is, and now it's baby, right? We're saving babies, and now they're protecting the children. So how do we fight against someone that says, well, I'm protecting children?
Yeah.
Right? But you're not protecting children. We have to take back this language, because we are starting to move into very dangerous territory where teachers can be sued personally for something that they might bring up in a classroom. I mean, it's outrageous. It's outrageous that people are going to be targeted and labeled and put at risk for these kind of language choices that they're putting out there.
Well, and not to mention the fact that there are,
and it's all lies.
There are people who actually want to hurt children. Real groomers.
Yes.
That are not gay, because here's the difference, you fucking idiots. Let me teach you. I don't know, mommy and daddy never told you about this one. Let me tell you. Maybe you didn't learn in school and you should have. Ding! Here's the thing. What a pedophilia is somebody who's he's a person adult who's attracted to children. Gay men and women are attracted to adults of the same sex. That's gender, which I'm sure you're familiar with at this point.
Oh, yeah, please.
Get it fucking straight. Get it straight. One of them is a monster. The other person is an adult who loves another adult. Like, that's what it is.
It doesn't make...
it makes no sense. So, there's real groomers. And so while you're keeping your eyes on this bullshit, what's happening around you?
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the fucking coach at the baseball game. You know what I mean? Oh my God, because the priest at the fucking church.
Right.
The babysitter. Keep an eye on those fucking people. Teachers aren't looking to get involved in this. Teachers want to do their job and go home.
That's it.
To their families.
Really, that's all.
And try to count the fucking pennies. The pennies that you pay them.
And they just want to, teach the curriculum.
Yeah.
And this whole thing about like the math books and like that there's CRT and there's woke, and it's like, just because there's a name that might be of Hispanic origin or some other origin, gasp, does not mean that we're forcing people to think about accept like illegal immigration or something. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. And at the parents' rights, I'm sorry, but I went to college and I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in English, and I taught at the college level, and then I had to go teach, and then I went to go teach in the high school level, and I had to take all these courses because my degrees did not qualify me to teach in education, right? I had to take, all this statistics and child psychology, all these classes about education. It was so boring. Sorry. Boring. But I had to take them. So these parents out there, right? And then I also had to take for English, learning about curriculum, how to make a lesson, all of this stuff. Differentiating instruction. And then you have these parents who are going to make decisions about curriculum. You're not qualified.
No, I don't
You're not qualified. By the way, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I had to sit for all these damn classes. You're not qualified. You are not qualified. But I don't care what you do, what your career is.
The other side is this. I don't want to make your curriculum. I, as a parent, wanted to send my kid to school, and I have trust in the system. I see what my son brings home and my daughter brings home. I know what they're learning. I have faith in the teachers that they know the curriculum. And I don't have time to make the curriculum. Bitches, what are you doing with your time? That's how much fucking time you have in your hands?
It's insane.
Send your kids to school and find a fucking job or a hobby. Figure out what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. Because if this is what you're doing, if you're online, looking at people's shit, right?
It's ridiculous.
Getting involved with people like that, and then fucking harassing school board members and all your shit. What's fucking happening in your house? What's happening? How are your kids doing in school?
And these moms for liberty, a bunch of winos. They're a bunch of winos.
Fucking winos.
A bunch of winos.
Fuck it, I can't.
I know. Okay. That's again women in name only.
Yeah, women in name only. Hashtag or trademark. So let's just go through this quickly because it's all saturated. No, it's fine. It's like all saturated news, and let's just get through it. But the Republicans in Florida, DeSantis calls them back for a special session about the maps, and the morning that they're there, Carlos Guillermo Smith, representative from the Central Florida area, he's in the shower and gets a fucking email. In the shower the morning they're supposed to go into the House to do to fight against this redistricting maps. He gets an email saying, "Oh, by the way, we're also going to vote on this, taking this special district away from the Disney Reedy Creek." Yeah. And he's like, what? Like, they had no idea. Yeah, it's like a bamboozle, right? Yeah. So they get there and they start freaking out.
That's their game.
Yeah. So it was also, Disney was a distraction from the fact that they're going to do the most racist fucking maps you've ever seen in Florida, right? So.
Which they're suing.
Yes, I saw that. So ridiculous. So, I mean, they should.
No,
but, yeah. It's like, we're in Florida. What do you think's going to happen?
And the courts are filled
with his bullshit. So, they get in there and it passes the Senate quickly. Like, really quickly. The hand-drawn DeSantis maps. And I talked last week, there is a separation of these three branches of government. And then, by the way, break that law. Like, there's laws there for that. And someone should be suing about that. Right?
Yes.
And so then, that same day, in that morning, all of these really interesting, detailed, like, here's exactly what's going to happen in Orange County, and I think Osceola County as well, where Disney is. Right. What's going to happen to the taxpayers in these counties and to the county money. Like, they have a budget every year. And by June of next year, they need to come up with like $120 million
How are they
county.
Doing that?
And here's what the county has now said.
And what about all those people in the jobs? There's so much. It's such a cluster.
Here's what Orange County came out and said. That if this thing passes, which it did later on in the day, come June, the people who own property owners in Orange County, their property taxes are going up 25%.
Yeah. Who are you voting for, Orange County?
That's incredible.
I bet you a lot of you put a check next to DeSantis' name.
I mean, this is insane. It's, your taxes go up 1 or 2%. You notice. I notice. Like fucking 25% now. Meanwhile, we're in a fucking housing crisis.
Oh my God.
We're in a property insurance is up through the roof.
Our taxes, I feel like, are pretty high anyway, especially down in South Florida. If they're already high. Yeah. If they went up 25%, I would not be able to live in my house.
I can't afford that. And property insurance, which they're supposed to come back for a special session. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's incredible. And so I'm hoping, since nobody in Florida seems to give a fuck about a 15-week abortion ban or banning fucking history books,
but
maybe they'll give a fuck
wallet.
if it hits their wallet.
Maybe they'll care,
Because that's what's going to happen. By the way, people around Florida go to Orlando. How much do you think it's going to cost to get a room there now? Like, all of this is going up, bro.
Disney, you got some money. Why don't you,
what a fucking, and I saw a tweet this morning from Scott Maxwell, I mentioned him from the Orlando Sentinel last week. He put a thing out today that said, he's getting like direct messages from people who work for Disney, and they're like, this is so upsetting, we're so pissed at Disney. He always writes back, why aren't you mad at your employer? And he made an observation this morning that Disney has not come out and put anything like negative out yet. But he knows that they're sitting on a fucking mountain of evidence of like donations that they gave to all of these, like a Randy Fine, like all of those guys, where he's going to, they're going to come out.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
Oh, please,
That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
Blow it up, Disney.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, fuck you. My last thing. And it's really kind of, so today's April.
Oh, yeah.
It's the scheduled execution date.
Yes.
For Melissa Lucio, who you covered on the podcast.
Yes.
And now I'm seeing all over the place. People are really picking up steam. I mean, it's unfortunate. We're like the day of now.
I think it's 2 days before. I think on the 25th is when they're doing a review.
Okay. So we'll know by Monday.
I just
if they're gonna let this happen.
So please, if you haven't yet, well,
please.
no, because this is coming out on the 27th.
But
we can maybe.
Here's the thing. This woman shouldn't be in prison.
No.
If she dies tonight, I'm going to tell you that if Texas is trying her for murder, you're also murdering somebody. You're murdering somebody. Yes. You're taking her life. And I don't believe in the death penalty.
Right to do that.
I don't understand what you're doing. If this woman who suffered and suffered and suffered is made to suffer more,
and her family,
like you're not doing
her children
who are still here, who
you
are
care about the children. We all care about the children, right?
Yeah, and this is a terrible.
Only when it's good for them.
It was a terrible, terrible accident. Oh, this little girl had a bum foot. She fell downstairs. It was a fucking terrible accident.
And there were people there.
And this woman has paid her dues.
More than.
You know, accidents happen. People, I mean, it's awful here. Sometimes people will forget that their kid's in the back of the car and leave the kid in the car, and the kid dies from like heat exhaustion or whatever it is.
Oh my God.
It's terrible, and they have to go to jail. And they have to go to jail for it.
Tragedies happen.
Because,
tragedies happen all the time.
It's awful. It's awful. But there's no reason to continue this. There's no reason to continue the pain that this family has felt from losing their sister or their daughter. Like, there's no reason why this family should continue to suffer.
She's already suffering with the loss of not only the death of her child, but the loss of her time with her kids.
Yeah, it's enough. She has served her time. And even if this was just an accident, this death penalty for this is insane.
It's insane.
It would have been, I would say, let's say 20 years, maybe, if it was an accident, right? Like, I don't understand.
If there's an accident, it shouldn't be any time.
Well, that's true.
Right? And look at the husband, right? There was this idea of neglect. He got 4 years. 4.
I'm so glad that y'all didn't see that rant on video. I was insane. But anyway, if it does go through,
I've been thinking about it.
Me too. That's all I've been thinking about. That's all I've been thinking about. And then I wrote the date on my notes for this today, and I was like, oh fucking hell! Like I so much fucking light and love and prayers are sent to that family, to every one of her children and her sister, who you talked about. That's the fucking shit that pushed me over. That sister quote to everybody. Who's losing here, including especially Melissa. My love and goes out to you. And if you are,
I hope
you find a better place and peace somewhere. If this ends up happening, like I hope that you find peace, because you fucking deserve it. You deserved it as a little girl being fucking abused, and as a teenager marrying off and fucking being abused in that marriage and the next relationship and all these poor children.
She's got to put her faith and her hope in that Governor
Abbott. So maybe they'll give her some fucking grace. My God, she fucking deserves it if anybody does.
Yes.
All right, let's get into this. All right, today I am covering U.S. House Rep from Illinois, Mel Reynolds.
Ooh, Illinois. Hey.
So
I wish I could do a Midwest accent.
I know I can't do it either. But I watch plenty of Judge Judy. I can always kind of find it, you know? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been getting back into Judge Judy. I love her yelling at people. I fucking
Are you watching the new show?
Or I watched some of the new show, yeah. But I'll watch stuff on YouTube. There's Judge Judy episodes on YouTube. Anyway, so Reynolds and he has a twin brother, Marvin, were born in Mound Bayou, Mississippi, and they moved to Chicago when he was a child. So he received an Associate of Arts from one of the city colleges of Chicago and graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign from Harvard University with his master's degree.
Always with the Harvard. We got to rethink these Ivy League schools, the kind of people they're spitting out. Sorry.
He also won a Rhodes Scholar to the University of Oxford, where he attended Lincoln College and received a Bachelor's of Law degree.
That's huge.
Yeah. Also, I just finished an what's it called? Anatomy of a Scandal on Netflix. It's so fucking good. Wait, 6 episodes, but Oxford is mentioned a lot, Tina. That's where they went to school.
I feel like I saw this.
Did you? It's got that beautiful Sienna Miller. Oh my gosh.
I'll have to look. I feel like I watched so many things they all blur in my mind.
Yeah. Oh, you'd remember this. She's gorgeous. All right. So before entering politics, Reynolds worked as an assistant professor of political science at Roosevelt University in Chicago, and he also founded the Community Economic Development and Education Foundation.
Okay.
So he runs 3 times from 1988 to 1992 in Democratic elections for the 2nd District against incumbent, this is for the House, against incumbent Gus Savage, who was known for like being racially just throwing, like he's also black because Reynolds is black, but he would just throw things out that were just like race baiting, and he'd say anti-Semitic remarks, and it all drew criticism from Republicans and Democrats, right?
Okay.
So he's just not a great guy. And in 1988, Reynolds finishes third with only 14% of the vote. In 1990, he loses again, but it's getting closer. And it was kind of helped because Savage had his own House Ethics Committee for a sex scandal, so he was already like looking not great.
All right.
So he was getting closer and closer. But then in 1992, there was redistricting that pushed the district further into Chicago's suburbs. So he's able to come across a little bit better, I guess. And the New York Times reported that this change was, quote, seen as a benefit to the 40-year-old Mr. Reynolds, whose appeals for accountability and racial unity sit well with middle-class black moderates embarrassed by Mr. Savage and whites who are frightened by his own often combative racially charged speech, end quote.
Okay.
So this guy just seems like a calmer black man, I guess.
Oh, God.
Which a whites can fucking handle.
Please, white people.
Motherfuckers.
Can we get it together?
I hate you.
God.
Hold on, I'm writing down I hate you as a title. Oh, by the way, fuck those kids. People loved it. I mean, I can tell people were like, what is this? I'm like, you better go find out. Also, go fuck those kids.
No. No. Just their parents.
Yeah, all right.
I have to protect the children.
Yeah, what kind of teacher are you?
I mean...
We better look at your pay and see how much we can dock off of this.
Yes, please.
Pay for some other bullshit.
There's not much. There's not much
assholes. Yeah. So shortly before the primary, Reynolds was slightly injured when unknown gunmen fired shotguns at his vehicle while he was waiting at an intersection.
No.
Yeah. And he was given police protection for the rest of the campaign. But Savage's supporters accused Reynolds of staging the incident to generate sympathy.
Oh, yes.
And for himself, and suspicion for Savage. And Reynolds did not directly accuse Savage of organizing the attack, but somebody shot at him.
Someone shot at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, who organizes that on them? I mean, unless you're like, what was it, Bobby Bacala who shot the he's like, the fleshy part of the thigh.
Bobby Bacala. So days later, Reynolds beats Savage in the Democratic primary on March 17th, and he easily wins the general election in November. So now he's in Congress, and he's seated on the Ways and Means Committee, which for a freshman was like a huge deal.
Okay.
And he voted for the North America Free to Trade Agreement, and introduced gun legislation. I would love to cover that NAFTA.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
That's like
good.
huge.
Okay. So let's get into the dirty.
Hey.
In August 1994, Reynolds was indicted for sexual assault and criminal sexual abuse for engaging in a sexual relationship with a 16-year-old campaign volunteer that began during the 1992 campaign. So 2 years. He also faced charges of child pornography for asking the underage campaign worker to obtain, quote, lewd photographs of another girl who was age 15, end quote.
Come on.
And obstruction of justice for convincing one of the girls involved to lie to the authorities.
Oh, okay. Come on. You're an adult.
The anti-Semitic guy's he's making the anti-Semitic guy look really good right now.
My God. Like, you can't find a 19 or 20-year-old? Like, honestly.
No, that's too old. Those 4 years is like a decade.
Ugh.
Honey.
So gross.
Despite the charges, he continued his campaign and was reelected in November. Without opposition. Nobody came out there just like, oh, fuck him. Let him go. Oh, my God.
Well, it was the 90s where I feel like people just didn't
give a fuck.
Care as much. I don't know. It's funny, like, looking back at the decades and you're like, how did people allow this stuff to happen?
Yeah. It was so fucked up. Yeah. So Reynolds initially denied the charges, which he claimed were racially motivated.
Oh, gosh.
On August 22nd, 1995, he was convicted on 12 counts of criminal sexual assault, sexual abuse, obstruction of justice, and solicitation of child pornography. He resigned his seat of October 1st that year, and had he attempted to stay in office, his role in Congress would have been limited anyway because the House Rules Committee has to do an investigation if somebody's charged with a felony. So he would have been doing anything, but he's going to jail. So he was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison and was expected to be released in 1998. But in April 1997, he was convicted on 16 new counts of bank fraud.
No!
Misusing campaign funds for personal use and lying to FEC investigators.
No!
Which I think is what happened is they start looking into him because these accusations with the girl. They start looking into his campaign financing.
Because she was a campaign
stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
and they probably called the feds and were like, something doesn't fucking look right here. This motherfucker's taking money. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then he gets fucking hooked up with that.
And
This
maybe
is
they
like
would have
so-
never found out. Like,
Yeah,
if
that's
he-
what I mean. Yeah.
If he never had the issue with the girls, wow.
So specifically, he had 1 count of bank fraud, 2 counts of wire fraud, 8 counts of making false statements on loan applications, 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the Federal Elections Commission, and 4 counts of making false statements to the FEC.
Holy
And these
cow.
charges resulted in an additional sentence of 78 months in federal prison to run consecutively with the 1995 sexual assault sentence that he had.
Wow.
So he served all of his first sentence and 42 months of the sentence in the prison for the later for the bank charges, right? And President Bill Clinton.
Oh no.
Then commuted his sentence for bank fraud, and Reynolds was released from prison because you know, these sexual assaulters have to look out for each other.
Thanks, Bill Clinton.
You fucking piece of shit.
Oh my god.
Stay away from women, you fucking creep.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Bill Clinton.
And it's Bill Clinton and
Nobody-
Nancy Pelosi.
Nobody wants your
There's
cigar.
no love for you here today.
No, fuck all you motherfuckers.
No, don't say the cigar.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
If you're from the 90s,
I know.
you know what I'm talking
so
about.
Gross.
From the 90s! How did you used to say that? It was the 90s!
It's the guy from TikTok. How does he go? It was the 90s. It's something like that.
90s were the best, Jerry.
They were.
So he served the remaining time in a halfway house. So he didn't get to go home yet, but still.
Oh,
so,
please.
In January 2001, let's start moving up a little bit, right? He was hired by Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Coalition, right? To decrease the number of young African Americans going to prison.
Okay.
In 2004, he sought to win back his old house seat.
Are you kidding me? Wait, can he even run with a felony charge?
Yeah, well, I mean, he served his time, maybe. So, of course, he's defeated, and he was succeeded by Jesse Jackson Jr. That's how Jesse Jackson gives him a job, and he's like, I'm going to go fuck him, run against your son, bye.
Yeah, I mean...
So he sought the seat again in 2013.
Jeez, guy, give it up already. Enough already.
He came in 7th place in the Democratic primary.
Oh my god.
You got to see that coming. Here's the thing. It's called the Charlie Crist. So here's what you do, Mel. You see you're losing the primary, and then you change parties,
switch
so
parties,
that maybe as an independent you look appealing.
Or you have like a slightly higher chance.
But here's the other thing. It's also called the Charlie Crist. Nobody wants you.
Woo!
So now
Nobody
we're gonna go to Zimbabwe. Ooh, We're traveling today, bitch. We're traveling with beret and everything. This is like what's that show where the science teacher takes them everywhere?
Oh, they're on the bus.
Yes.
Magic School Bus.
Magic School Bus. I'm like
Bus.
Mrs. What's her name?
Oh.
Frazzle. I'm Mrs. Frazzle.
Yes.
Grab onto my beret, bitch. We're going to Zimbabwe. Woo! Tina, look at that zebra. Oh, fucking lion. Here we are. It's sunny and it's beautiful in Zimbabwe.
Beautiful.
Woo,
What is he doing there?
What's Mel Reynolds doing here?
Oh my god. What is he doing there?
Oh my god, it's really early. The coffee is kicking in.
The coffee's kicking in. It's good.
Okay, so on February 18th, 2014, Reynolds was arrested in Zimbabwe for overstaying his visa. He was allegedly found to be in possession of pornographic videos he had filmed with several women at the hotel where he was staying.
Women or children?
Women.
Okay.
Possession of pornography is a crime in that country.
Oh shit.
I'm in trouble. Don't take me to Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Well, now he's in a foreign country in a foreign jail.
Oh
what
my
happens?
god. So he had also reportedly accrued over $24,000 in hotel charges that he had yet to pay.
Oh, what a jerk.
Damn.
What a jerk.
The pornography charges were later dropped, but he pleaded guilty to violating immigration laws and was deported to South Africa.
Okay.
So he claimed in early March 2014 to be hiding from the Zimbabwean death squads.
What?
Who he claimed were targeting him because he possessed information about American companies from Chicago.
Oh, come on.
Doing business illegally
No, give me
in
a break.
Zimbabwe.
Nobody, give me a break. Give me a break.
He's on a mission.
Yeah, he's on a mission to go hook up with some women and have the videos for later. That's
I'm a
his
secret
mission.
agent. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, you're not. You're
And
weird.
the U.S. government's like, we don't know what you're talking about, right? Did they come out?
Just take him out for the gun squad. Fuck that guy already. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Woo! The coffee is strong this morning.
It's the beret. I feel like I'm another person. So on June 26, 2015, Reynolds was indicted by a grand jury for failure to file federal income tax returns for the 2009 through 2012 tax years on more than $400,000 of income.
Oh my God.
Yeah, creepola.
Wow.
Making money. The next month, he missed his arraignment because he claimed he could not return to the U.S. due to this issues with his daughter's health because he brought his family over there.
Aww.
And it was not clear where Reynolds was, although he had previously hidden in South Africa out of fear for his life. In April 2016, Reynolds was sentenced to 2 months of prison for 2 bond violations in his tax case, and his trial was scheduled for September, and he decided to represent himself in court.
Oh, well, there you have it. That says it all.
Yeah.
That
Reynolds
tells us everything we need to know about
you
Reynolds.
know what else? And I also think he probably thought he couldn't trust a lawyer. You know, like he's like wacky at this point.
No, I mean, anyone that represents themselves and has no,
has a fool for a client team.
Ooh,
so he claims the majority of the income the government claimed should be filed on income tax returns was given by Elsie Higginbottom, the key witness for the trial on misdemeanor tax charges. It was given to him in order to travel to South Africa to set up opportunities in real estate and the diamond industry. Who's he associating with? On September 28th, 2017, Judge Robert Gettleman found Reynolds guilty on tax charges on all 4 counts, alleging he failed to file a federal income tax return for the 4 consecutive years.
Wow.
And he was sentenced by Gettleman to 6 months in prison on May 10th, 2018, which he began serving at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago on August 1st. And at a press conference after the sentencing, Reynolds stated he planned to move to South Africa with his daughter after his release. And then he was released to a halfway house in November 2018, and he filed a lawsuit against deposed Zimbabwean dictator Robert Mugabe and a Chicago area businessman for what he said was, quote, physical and psychological torture, end quote, that took place during his time in detainment in Zimbabwe.
I mean, maybe, but
he asked... He received permission from the U.S. court to travel to Africa while on supervised release.
What?
Yeah, but because he wanted to go see his daughter, right?
Okay.
But as of August 2019, he was still in the Chicago area. So that's the story.
Wow.
Mel Reynolds.
That is a wild
pedophile, right? 16?
16. Well, I don't know. He's
what
just.
do we call that?
Gross.
Okay. Ew.
What
do you think?
I love it.
All right, good.
The guy is disgusting.
Yeah.
All right, today I'm going to tell you the story of a U.S. diplomat.
Oh, God, no.
John Patterson. I don't know if you know this story.
The name sounds familiar, but I just hate Diplomat because I know that this motherfucker's going to get away with something.
No, this is a little different. This is a little different. U.S. diplomat John Patterson served as a vice consul in Mexico after attending the Foreign Services training program. But when he was abducted, the FBI didn't believe anything bad had really transpired. They were wrong.
Oh, no.
This story is really wild. All right, so this story takes place primarily in Hermosillo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
That's a good shot.
Mexico, which is at the top of Mexico. It's close to the U.S. border. Like, here's Arizona, and then it's a little ways down. So it's like tippy top of Mexico. Mm-hmm. And just to give a little bit of background, John Patterson, at the time that this happened, he was 31 years old.
Dang!
He was originally born in Philadelphia. He studied abroad in France. And I love this because here you are in a beret. And he met his wife in France because she was studying abroad.
Sweet,
and they had this like whirlwind romance. And then they come back home and, you know, their colleges are far apart. And so like it doesn't, it's hard. And long distance is hard. You know what I mean?
Bad idea.
So they kind of split. And Corner of the Atlantic explained that they were, you know, it was just hard to do the long distance thing. And she ends up marrying someone else.
Oh, wow.
And she has a child with that person, but that marriage didn't last, and she runs into Patterson later on, and that was that, like, they realized, like, we're still in love, and all,
I love that so much.
It's really cute.
I'm a romantic,
honey. It's really cute.
Very sweet.
So after finishing his master's in business, they marry, and he is working in D.C., but he wanted more out of life. He's sort of, you know, he had traveled to France in college. Like, he wanted to travel and kind of have adventure, and they're still young, you know? So that's when he decided to join the Foreign Services, and he becomes a diplomat through that.
Wow.
So he's sort of like this green, young diplomat. So they station you wherever. You don't have like
a say in it.
Yeah. Really. So, Croner of the Atlantic, he really wrote this incredible article about the incident. So I get a lot of my stuff from him. And he explained that John, in his role as a junior diplomat, had to work as a vice consul, and he was responsible for promoting trade between the U.S. and Mexico. And he worked a lot with ranchers and like the cattle industry and beef and like, what can we do? That was kind of his thing.
Yeah.
So John and his wife, Andra, she had this daughter, Julia,
from the first marriage.
And she was 4 at the time that this story takes place. They moved to Hermosillo in January of 1974. Oh. And for close to 2 months, they would, they were staying at a hotel at this time, and they would eat breakfast sort of out on like this deck near their suite. And that was like their little daily routine. And their daughter would be sort of running around chasing their cat. And it was nice.
Yeah.
And one morning, so I'm just kind of
gonna go.
And the motel that he was staying at was called the Motel El Encanto.
Okay.
And so
we don't talk about Bruno.
No. So here we go. On March 22nd. So they go there in January, right? And now this is March. It's a couple months later. In 1974, Patterson was scheduled to meet with some ranchers about cattle. So after getting to work, he took the keys to the consulate, the vehicle, to head to his appointment. And around 11 a.m., one of his colleagues, Luis Sanchez, saw him chatting with a guy outside of the motel, and the guy was wearing sunglasses and a blue suit. Patterson got into the driver's side of the consular vehicle, which is his vehicle.
Okay.
And this other guy that he was chatting to got in the passenger side, and they leave.
Okay.
Right? An hour after that, according to Croner's article, a clerk at the hotel saw Patterson driving in the car with a man that he didn't recognize. And so there are 2 sightings of him at this point, right? There's the sighting of him outside the hotel, and then there's a sighting from the clerk saying, yeah, no, I saw him driving in the car with this guy. I don't know who the other guy was. So a couple of hours after that, Patterson's wife, Andra, she happened to be at the consulate, and she was in the library. She was like looking for books, I think for her daughter or something. And she is summoned by the consul general at the time, who was Elmer Yelton. And here's where things get a little weird. So Yelton informed Andra that her husband never showed up to meet the ranchers. And he also told her that there was a note under his door addressed to Mr. Yelton. And here's what the note read. Quote, I have evidently been taken hostage by the People's Liberation Army of Mexico. And then the note continued, quote, under no circumstances whatsoever is there to be any news release concerning my captivity before or after my release. And the note also demanded $500,000
Dang!
to be hand-delivered by his wife, Andra.
No!
Yes.
So he wrote this. It's his handwriting.
They say it was his handwriting.
Okay. Dang.
All right. So it's like a little weird. So, and similar to the story that the Patty Hearst about the Sudanese Liberation Army, at the time, no one, the FBI and other people are like, who's the People's Liberation Army of Mexico?
Oh my God.
So the feds at the time, and this is according to Kate Seaman's Newser article, they didn't believe he was actually kidnapped.
Oh my God. Damn it, FBI.
I know. FBI.
Idiots.
So before I get to that, I want to kind of talk about like was there a People's Liberation Army? And the feds were right. There was no such thing.
I feel like I've heard this name though. Like, was there another People's Liberation Army?
There is. There's China. China has a people.
Okay.
Yeah. So in fact, the FBI thought that the person that Patterson was speaking to the morning he disappeared, and the person who entered his car, was an American.
What?
Yes. So this is where it's like, well, who the hell is this person?
Yeah.
All right. So plot twist, right? Like he's in Mexico. The note is like this People Liberations Army, but it's an American guy. Like, what's going on? So the New York Times reported that there were no leads in the case, and they requested the public's help. The article also noted that the consulate had created flyers to distribute to try and find Patterson, And another clue that suggested that it wasn't a guerrilla group was that there was no political message. Like if this was something that was coming from a group like that, like there would be some of the politics of Mexico, whatever's going on.
The Civilese, they did that. Their thing was like, the government's trying to take those IDs of the children.
Yes. All right. So, there was just the request for money, right? Yeah. So some believe that this was maybe just regular kidnappers. And another clue that the kidnappers may have been American was the stationery. The note was written on U.S.-made stationery.
What?
So this is the thing I love about the FBI. Like they can learn, like, what kind of note is this? What kind of notepad did it come from?
Yeah.
And the request for the $500,000 was in U.S. dollars, not in pesos.
I wonder, I mean, maybe you'll get to it, but I wonder if they're going to be like, is this guy and his wife trying to rip off $500,000?
That's what it would look like to me. That's what it kind of, they start thinking. So at the time, Nixon was president, he had stated that the U.S. will not negotiate with terrorists.
No.
And full stop, right? Yeah. And I understand. So the government, they're not going to give any money for the safe return of Patterson. And, if terrorists ask money for diplomats, and then the U.S. is giving money, then it's probably going to prompt more people to kidnap.
Yeah.
I can see where it's like we can't get into this game because it's danger. Like people are going to be maybe at more risk at kidnapping. And the government doesn't want to legitimize these acts because we have diplomats all over the place. So Nixon was told, but he was kind of dealing with Watergate at the time.
I never heard of
it. And that year, there were another 6 diplomats who were kidnapped.
Wow.
There was a lot of kidnapping that was happening at that time. So a few days after Patterson's kidnapping, the New York Times article reported that Yelton, who was that head consulate, said that they expected Patterson's release any day. And an unidentified spokesman had this to say, quote, "Once he's back, I will present to you pictures of all the people involved and what this was all about." But that never happened.
They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
So things sort of came up that seemed to hinder the case as well. There was the confusion on whether or not a kidnapping even took place, right? So if you want people involved to help and you're like, well, there's no kidnapping, people aren't really involved or maybe looking or doing as much as they could have.
Taking it seriously.
And in April 1974, the New York Times noted that Mexican officials referred to the incident as a disappearance, that he sort of was just missing and not kidnapped, which is 2 entirely different things, right?
Oh, God.
And
this woman must have been freaking the fuck out.
I know, the wife.
Yeah.
So at one point, and this goes back to what you said, someone leaked to the newspapers that the kidnapping was fake. And according to Koner's Atlantic article, one headline read, quote, "Police assure that disappearance of U.S. Vice Consul is a self-kidnapping."
Holy shit.
They put it in the paper. So more info gets leaked, and now Andra has to hold a press conference, right?
Oh my
because
God, dude.
Her husband's still missing and gone.
No.
And the issue about the info getting leaked is important because recall the note said, we don't want any press.
Yeah.
Now there's all this talk happening. So here's part of her speech as reported by Koner. Andra says, quote, "I am here to appeal to the people who have my husband. I am deeply sorry that the news was made public. I will do everything in my power to ensure his welfare. Please let me know that he is well. Please contact me. And for my husband, if he could hear me, Giovanni, je t'attends," which means I'm waiting for you. Oh,
it's fucking awful.
It's awful. And that was their French love affair. And oh my God. It makes me so sad. So now the feds, like I said, they did think for a moment that it was a self-kidnapping, maybe they're trying to get money from John's family or something like that, but it just didn't add up, right? So they start digging into their past. They want to find out, is there anything in their past that could have caused this incident? They find out that Andra was an anti-Vietnam War protester,
God.
which
Get over it, you fucking asshole.
love.
Yeah, fuck you,
I love
government.
her. I know. So then someone calls Andra with a Texas accent and asking to speak to her, claiming to be the kidnappers, and they trace the call to San Diego.
What?
Right? Which they thought, this is a little odd.
Okay, but
right?
that's that way.
It's still kind of close, but still
it's close to Mexico.
Yeah, what's going on? So they tried also several times. There were different attempts to try to give ransom money, but it just didn't work out. for a variety of reasons. And you can go through there. It was just, you know, just different hiccups that happened that just didn't allow it to happen. And throughout the notes that were coming in, so she was receiving like more letters. One of them read, quote, 2 times we gave you chances to free him, and 2 times you hope to trap our fighters. But we know what you do when you do it. Fail to do as we instruct, and death is now his only release.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, in July 1974,
No!
Patterson's body was found.
What?
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. That's why I was like doing this story, and I was like, ugh, and then I was like, what's happening?
What the fuck?
Yeah, so a New York Times article noted that in a remote desert area about 345 miles north of Hermosillo, a peasant looking for fruit found his body.
Oh my God.
The skull was broken from what appeared to be blows to the face
Holy
and the back
shit.
of the head.
What?
I know, it's so terrible. And then the one thing that just made me so sad was one of the things they found near his body was a ring, his wedding ring, which had his and his wife's initials on it along with their wedding date.
Oh my God.
So who would do this, right? The FBI's like, what?
I mean,
who
beating him
did
to death
this?
in his head is just so fucking
it's
violent.
horrible,
Yeah,
horrible.
that's insane.
Ugh.
This is a U.S. government official. What the fuck? This is not okay.
Oh my God. So as the FBI kept looking into who it may be, they start focusing on the San Diego area. This phone call came in, and they
These fuckers dropped the ball.
Right. Well, they start seeing this guy, a 40-year-old American who was looking good for this. And here's the thing. The guy, a man named Bobby Joe Kesey, was recently honored as a hero at the White House.
What?
And he's a suspect for this murder. I know. It's like twists and turns. Another plot twist.
Oh my God.
It's like, what is going on? So the New York Times reported that Kesey was a career criminal and a fraudster. He posed as U.S. officials to try and steal airplanes.
Ooh.
He pulled a purchasing scam on a company. He served in Korea. He was a prisoner of war in Vietnam.
Wow.
But in Vietnam, this is the funny part. So he's sort of like honored or like, you know, like, oh, you served in Vietnam. But he didn't serve in Vietnam. He was a civilian. And the only reason he was in Vietnam was because he stole a plane in Thailand and was fleeing authorities, and he ran out of fuel and landed in North Vietnam and got captured.
What luck is this?
I mean,
oh my God.
Yes. So he's not like some war hero.
He's like the ultimate fucking scam artist.
Yes. He's horrible. So how did he kidnap Patterson? Well, Kesey, right, is this fraudster. So it's just like who he is. I feel like he can't help it.
Yeah.
And at the time, according to that coroner's article in The Atlantic, his father was living in Mexico. Kesey's father. And he was planning on kidnapping a consulate for money. Like, hey, this is a way we can get money. We know that there are diplomats here. And he gets this 19-year-old kid, Greg Fielden, to head to Mexico and like help with this plan. And Kesey chats up a senior diplomat, this guy, Louis Villalobos. And he learns that a new young diplomat is coming into town, and that's when he plots to kidnap Patterson because he figured he would be an easier target.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they get training on this.
Yeah.
So there were different issues that came up, and the plan never went through, and Fielden was like, I'm out. Like, so they dropped the plan.
Yes.
And he's not going to do it. But then Kesey's dad dies. And when he's going through his father's things, he finds a shotgun and he's like, I'm going to put this plan back in action myself. And it just, he moves forward with the plan.
Wow.
So he chats up Patterson, and Patterson probably didn't feel scared because he's an American. And remember, he's a scam artist. So he tells him some tale about ranching, and he talks his way into going with Patterson that day to meet the ranchers. And it just never happens, obviously.
Oh my God.
He's charged. It's awful. So he's charged with kidnapping and murder. Fielden testifies about the original kidnapping plot, and that, along with evidence like the shotgun having human blood on it and shells, didn't look good for Kesey. But remember, also, this is 1974, so like the DNA, the technology really isn't there to like corroborate like that this is indeed John Patterson's blood, right?
Okay.
So the prosecutor argued, according to coroner, that Kesey apparently handcuffed Patterson, marched him off into the desert, and he must have realized, Patterson must have realized at the time, like, he was going to get killed, and there was evidence, I guess, of a struggle. His broken glasses were discovered next to a bush about 100 feet away. But there were problems, right? So remember, the FBI said that this may have been a self-kidnapping. There was no witness to the actual murder, nothing placing Kesey at the crime scene. All things that the defense could argue, because there's newspaper articles. Oh, he disappeared. Oh, this is their plot.
But isn't it enough that the kid was like, this was the plan to do this? Like, isn't that enough? It should be.
I know, but they decided to cut a deal because they're like, we could lose, right?
This fucking guy.
So in the end, he's charged.
No.
With 1 count of kidnapping.
What?
That's it. And this is only because Kesey had admitted to writing one of the notes, and Kesey's brother.
But he says he didn't do anything else.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And Kesey's brother, so remember he was making those phone calls too, so they had recorded one of them, and Kesey's brother was like, yeah, that's my brother's voice. So they have his voice, plus they have the letter. So he's like, yeah, sure, I kidnapped him, but that's it.
Well, what's his explanation for the rest of it? How the fucking guy should end up dead with his head bashed in?
This is what Kesey had to say. Quote, there's nothing more I can say. I got involved in something I realized was wrong. That was it. That was it. He was sentenced to 20 years. He was paroled in 1986, so about 10 years. And he went on to commit crimes and serve short jail stints for each. He never changed his ways.
No.
Andra eventually...
And he murdered somebody. Come on. Allegedly, but no.
No.
Come on.
He did it. Yeah. Please. Andra eventually moved on, even though it was hard for her. She worked for the State Department. She wrote like newsletters for the State Department. And then she discovered painting, and she even had her work displayed in one of the embassies. And she just... it's so sad. So some points of interest. The Atlantic article noted that before their move to Mexico, I thought that this was really... I don't know, just the foreshadowing of it was kind of creepy. Andra and John went to a movie, and they were watching a movie called State of Siege, which was about the 1970 kidnapping and murder of USAID official Dan Mitrone. And while watching it, she had this feeling of anxiety and shouted in the theater, quote, "Oh my God, that better not be you." And he reassured her in everything that like, that would never happen to me. And then just a few months later, it did.
It's just fucking weird. That's creepy.
Like that she was there, like, and I get it. She's probably like, oh my God, my husband's a diplomat. Oh my, like the realization maybe of like, how he could be in, like, isn't that awful?
It's really fucking sad.
Another thing I found interesting was that Andra got money, $250,000 to be exact, because remember the government was like, we're not going to help pay for this, but she got it from an heiress from New Mexico. And she put the money in like Girl Scout boxes.
Oh my god!
And that's how they were going to try to do the drop. But remember I said there were several attempts. On the day of the drop, they discovered Patterson's car. So the FBI called it off, saying that the exchange wasn't going to happen. Like it was just too, they found his car. There was going to be news. It just was too risky, I guess. So Conner's article also revealed something else interesting. A court psychiatrist found Kesey to be a sociopath, stating, quote, he was clever enough to surround himself with verbal smokescreens. But, and this is the thing I thought was so interesting, the article goes on to say that the psychiatrist got duped by him because he's like, this like, I feel like these sociopaths, like they know how to manipulate. And so even though the psychiatrist recognized him as a sociopath, he still got duped by him.
Wow.
And he said in his report, quote, Mr. Kesey has a good deal on the positive side of the ledger. Physique and physical health, intellect and engaging personality, and a versatile education largely obtained the hard way. Society may be able to profit from his services in 5 to 10 years. Can you imagine, like, in the court?
His service is what? His physique?
Yeah,
what kind of a fucking review is that?
Because he's, like, brilliant, right? Yeah. Or something. But it's like, dude, he's a scam artist. He's now he's scammed
and he's the last person known
to
see this guy alive. He's the last one who saw Patterson alive.
Right.
That's not a reason enough to try him for murder?
Yeah. Do you want to know how society profited from Kesey?
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you. So this next one blows my mind. You would think that Kesey's murderous and thieving ways would have ended after serving time for kidnapping and, allegedly murdering Patterson. But you would be absolutely wrong. In 1999, Kesey kidnapped and murdered a championship boat racer, Harry Christensen, who was 48 at the time.
What?
Shortly after he disappeared, Christensen's Cessna, another plane,
wait a minute,
was found covered in blood, but no trace of him anywhere.
Where was this?
This happened in... well, I'm not sure what state that he was taken from, but he ends up found in, they find Kesey in New Mexico. So apparently Kesey pretended to be interested in buying the plane, and he even flew it twice before kidnapping and murdering Christensen. Similar to Patterson, they found Christensen's body buried in a remote desert area, this time in New Mexico. He had shot Christensen in the chest, stuffed his body in the plane, used Christensen's credit card to fuel up, and then when he landed, borrowed a friend's car to get rid of the body. When Kesey was arrested, just a day after Christensen went missing, I didn't find like the details of like how they traced him. He had Christensen's Rolex credit cards and jewelry, but wouldn't tell authorities where they could find the body. I mean, what a horrible, horrible human.
Wow.
So that's the story.
Dude, he's killed more than 2 people.
Oh, of course.
Come on.
Of course.
Come on.
Like, that's his MO.
Dude.
Like, he knows how to fly a plane. He's, like, hobnobbing with rich people. Like, 'cause this guy was, like, a, successful person. So, yeah, that's the story of the kidnapping and murder of U.S. diplomat John Patterson.
Oh, my God.
I know. That was, like I said, I kind of saw that, and I was like, oh, it's probably, like, some guerrilla gang that did it. And then I was like, what? Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. And then the other murder, I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh, my God.
He shouldn't have been let out.
No! That fucking psychologist, fucking piece of shit.
I know.
God
but
damn it.
But still, he had 20 years. Then they let him go after 10.
Yeah.
Because if he was in jail for 20 years... that he would be getting out in 1999. Yeah. That guy could still be alive.
Oh, my God.
It's terrible. Terrible.
Oh, Tina. Woo. That was a really good one.
Yeah, I was just surprised at it because I was like, well, I haven't really done anything with diplomats. Let me check this out. I don't know. I forget even how I came across it.
I loved it. I wanted to, we record on Saturday, so today's the 23rd, but you're going to hear this on the 27th. But if you could go back, we recorded with Super Media Bros last week.
Yes!
And it was really a lot of fun. That movie was
so
insane.
Much fun.
And so
silly.
It was so fun to sit and talk to Richie and it's our first Odd Pods mashup, which is really awesome.
And, I want to talk about, talking about film and, TV and things like that.
God,
and there are, there's so many podcasts out there where it's just kind of boring, where people don't really detail.
I know. You mean like when it's like a husband and wife?
Yeah, and it's just like chit chat. We don't want to hear chit chat. With Super Media Bros, there was a clear we're going to talk about the different issues that come up, and it's someone that is really well versed in film, and so it was really engaging and really interesting to talk about. So definitely check them out because they really know what they're doing when they talk about media and film and TV and wrestling and everything that they talk about. They, the analysis and their intellect.
Yeah. They're fans.
Through.
They're fans.
Yes, they are actual fans and they know what they're doing.
Here's 90% of podcasts. It's this couple, right, who goes to barbecues and shit, and everybody's like, "You two are so funny.
Yeah,
you're so funny. You should have a podcast together. You're so funny." And then they make the podcast and you listen to it, right? And it's she's giggling at how funny he is. But the story's not funny.
The story's not funny.
Just because your friends think you're funny doesn't make you funny, honey.
And there are some good, in our Odd Pods family, we have the Married with Television.
Yes,
and
I'm not referring to that.
An amazing
I'm saying
job
people who
they're
aren't
professional.
Funny. Yeah. People who are not funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's all.
By the way, go fuck yourself. Fucking over it. Woo! Invasive and shit.
Yeah.
So the Super Media Bros video is on our YouTube, and the audio is Super Media Bros. You can listen to it on Richie's because we were guests on his podcast.
Yes,
but we have the video, and I think he said about 15 minutes extra on the video, so you can go watch that.
Yeah,
and that's it. So I have a few minutes to watch a little bit of Drag Race. The finale was last night, and I'm Team Willow Pill. I hope that she wins.
Hey,
I can watch a little bit because then I have to go see another gay man try to pull an illusion off. So,
a
lot of events.
God,
a lot of events this morning.
Wow. Well, that's a great note to end on. So,
bye.